Book Club no Kiseki. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
I'm Matt Jorgensen.
And I'm the other Sam. Oh, sorry, I wasn't supposed to. I cut it, didn't I?
No, it's fine. We didn't discuss it. But yeah, we have a special guest with us tonight. You may remember Nega Sam from the Lunar episodes or from his vastly more successful than ours YouTube channel. And if you remember from the Lunar episodes, Sam kept a updated shipping chart of all of the party members, and that game had a measly 6 party members. This game has 16 party members, so it's a much, much bigger, more focused poly shipping chart, and that's what we're going to be doing today. But before we get to all that, what's up, dog?
What's up, dog?
I don't know what's up with you.
But yeah, what's up, Bernard and Matt and Sam?
I wasn't really sure what energy to bring to this recording, so I decided to drink some alcohol. So we'll see how this goes.
Ooh, awesome.
Ooh.
I never drink, but I thought it might be fun to do.
Now I
once.
wish I'd stuck some vodka in this seltzer water I made for myself. That would have been fun.
I saved my Monster Energy for right now for the same reason. Yeah. So, Matt, sup, dog?
Okay, so I started a journey that started with a miniatures agnostic game and ended with listening to Russian literature, which is cool.
Is Maddie on this podcast now?
No, this is like even Russian sci-fi, which is like I don't even really usually mess with sci-fi. But I picked up a game called Zona Alpha, which it'll be explained later. It's based on the themes in it are based on Metro 2033, which I've already read, and a game series called Stalker.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I loved Metro 2033. Let's check out this Stalker thing. The sequel, the Stalker 2, which is the 4th game in the series, because the first 3 came out on PC, is coming out on Xbox later this year. I'm like, okay, that's cool. It's based on this thing called Roadside Picnic. Well, okay, let's check out this thing called Roadside Picnic. And that is, oh boy, where to even begin? So it's a sci-fi story written in like a first-person perspective about the 50s, and it was written in Soviet Union Russia in 1972 by a pair of brothers about an event that happened in the United States and other places in the world, but predominantly the story takes place in the United States, which is really interesting. But the gist of it is aliens land on Earth in, I think it's 7 or 8 places across the world, and they just do their thing for between 48 hours and 5 days. They just do their thing. They completely ignore the humans, and then they leave. And that happens before the story even starts, where this is where the Stalker game comes in. Because you have these people who go into these zones and are like, oh, look, this aliens did something weird to this battery and now it never runs out of energy. Might also kill you because, like, cosmic radiation's a thing. But free energy, let's give it a try. And that's the premise of all 3 of those pieces of media, which I didn't know about.
Oh.
Until this week. It wasn't as interesting as I thought it would be. But I really liked the book.
Nice. What was the book called again?
It's called Roadside Picnic.
Roadside Picnic. I might check that out if there is an English language audiobook for it.
There is. I actually picked up their other book, which they had to keep hidden until the fall of the Soviet Union, because it would have probably got them arrested and killed.
You'll love to see it.
Called, oh god, My Russian ain't what it used to be, and it wasn't anything in the first place. Walled City. They're really cool.
Yeah, they sound very interesting. I finally finished Parable of the Sower, and Parable of the Sower.
By Octavia Butler?
Yeah.
I need to read that.
It's fantastic, but the last time I tried to describe it, I realized it sounded really dumb. But what's cool about it is most sci-fi stories that had the premise that the world falls to shit and a visionary messiah-like person comes and founds a new religion, and that religion inspires the world to like fix itself, get their shit together, and go live out amongst the stars and like try again and do better. The normal book would start 300 years after that on the colony and would explore life in that new situation. This book starts the day that person wrote down the first verse of their new religion. So they're on the earth while it's shitty. Everything is shitty and going around, and it's the journal of that person, which is a much cooler thing. But the actual story of the book is just basic apocalypse survival stuff, but in a very hopeful, cool way, because it has the spoilers is that she's not crazy and this is real and it works and things will work out in the end. And that's why every time it doesn't work out in the now, it's like gut wrenching and devastating, but also hopeful. And it's really cool. The villain of the second book is a dictator whose literal campaign slogan is "Make America Great Again," and this book came out in 1993. So,
cool boy.
Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy on that one. There's going to be a lot of times if you start reading it that at the beginning of the book you're going to be like, "Oh, this isn't science fiction. This is contemporary fiction. All this quote unquote apocalypse is just living life in 2022," which sucks, but then has the whole like hope underneath it of like, oh, but they spoil it at the beginning that everything works out in the end, and it kind of makes there's a line in it that I can't remember it exactly. So Octavia Butler stans that are listening, don't sue me on my recollection of it, but a character is like giving their backstory and it's tragic and everything, and Lauren, our narrator, is like, so I kept hearing tragedy after tragedy, but I also couldn't help stop and looking and seeing how cool the water looked through the trees right now. And it's just little like nuggets like that all the way through, where it's like describing horrible apocalyptic shit, but also is tinged with hope the whole time. And it was a fantastic read. I highly recommend.
Yeah, the only Octavia Butler book I've read was Kindred, and I absolutely loved it. So I think I have Parable of the Sower somewhere. I need to read it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Besides drinking, Bernard, is there anything going on with you?
Let's hope so.
What a dark question to answer no to.
I've been having a 5-day weekend from work, which has been fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I've been playing Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga for the first time since it came out, and it's great. And I've been playing Soul Hackers 2, and it's good.
So, of the 4 extremely modern Shin Megami Tensei games, so Sharp FE, Persona 5, Soul Hackers 2, and Shin Megami Tensei 5, which one is your favorite?
I have not played Shin Megami Tensei 5, and I've only played a rather small portion of Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but Persona 5 is definitely better than Soul Hackers 2.
Cool. I love the shit out of Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, and I really want to play Soul Hackers because it reminds me more of Sharp FE than it does Persona 5. I love Persona 5. I think it's one of the best games ever, but we're in a mid-tier RPG renaissance, and I'm all about that life.
Yes.
We're also, just to mention it, we're also in like renaissance for like weird farming sims. And it has been both of them happening simultaneously has been murder on my wallet.
I remember when Square Enix announced Harvestella, I was like, aren't there a lot of games like that right now?
It's crazy because like there was only Harvest Moon, and then there was Harvest Moon and Innocent Life and Rune Factory, all the first boom of this back in the day, and then Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons broke up with each other, and so then you had two competing ones, and then Stardew Valley came around to be like, no, really the best one was Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town, and everything since then has been garbage, so let's just do Friends of Mineral Town but big. And because Stardew Valley got huge, now we're having a renaissance of renaissances.
Can't believe you wouldn't mention Farmville in that history. Just erasure, Farmville erasure.
Yeah, but I feel Farmville was the reason why we got Rune Factory and Innocent Life was like, oh, Harvest Moon created this Facebook game, so now there might be opportunities for us to try and do more than just a Harvest Moon game every couple of years.
Yeah. For the record, that was tongue in cheek. I'm not a Farmville stan, but
I do think you can see Farmville in, for instance, A Wonderful Life on the GameCube. I think Farmville is definitely involved, even if it's the worst version of this game.
I don't know, man. It was real hard going there for a couple of years. I've definitely played worse versions than Farmville.
True. So, what about you, other Sam? What has happened for you in the last calendar year since you've recorded?
Yeah, I was going to say, this is more of a week for me. Well, let's see. What are the highlights? I found a new game, a new JRPG that I hadn't played yet. Final Fantasy XIV. Mm-hmm. And that has, of course, consumed my entire life and existence since. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I didn't believe that so many people would be like, oh, it's like the best Final Fantasy story. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. The MMO has a better Final Fantasy story than like 7 or 10 or, like, sure, whatever. Okay. It's really good. It's really, I was not prepared. It's extremely good. It takes after the base game. The expansions are really good, but still, nonetheless, like, it is legitimately up there. Top tier Final Fantasy story. Very good stuff.
I was about to ask how long it takes to get good, because I tried playing it and I played so much and I was like, I believe everyone when they say it gets good. And then I looked up the list of quests and I'm like, oh my God, I'm less than a third of the way through the base game. Yeah,
you do literally have to just kind of deal with a Realm Reborn. It's not, I don't think at least that it's bad, but it's like good for an MMO as opposed to good for Final Fantasy at all. And then over the course of the patch content, because each of the expansions or whatever has patches with more story released bit by bit before the next expansion. And over the patch content for ARR, it gets better until it finally ends on one of the high points of the whole game. And then it moves right into Heavensward, and it does not slow down after that. It's just good all the way. So,
and yeah. A Realm Reborn has like looks like an MMO sort of story for a good portion of it, but the ending of it, I would say, is like in the grand scheme of JRPGs, it's like the mid-tier RPG. Like it's fucking honestly Lunar and Brave Story New Traveler, where nothing groundbreaking is necessarily happening, but it's not bad.
Yeah,
and it gets its bad rap because it's so long, because it's 60 levels worth of content instead of 10 levels worth of content, and the rest of it is so fantastically good. But
it's just kind of a rough intro, you know, like,
yeah,
it is worth it though. Like, I know that that's always kind of hard to swallow, but it's I can't imagine just like buying a story skip and jumping in Heavensward without all the setup for stuff before then. It just doesn't seem like it would hit nearly as hard.
If you did want to do that, though, I do believe that their character boost comes with like a journal in your room that you could go and spend a day or two reading everything that happened.
You can just like anytime you're playing the game, any quests that you've completed, including stuff that you story skipped, has you can just watch the cutscenes, which isn't you know everything, because that doesn't include like just the conversations in engine or whatever. It's just the cutscenes, but it's enough to get the gist of it.
Yeah, but I really liked A Realm Reborn, and the moment it like brain clicked for me was the Final Fantasy term dungeon is created with like in the MMO framework, and it's awesome before you get to the final MMO term dungeon. And so like you're assaulting this castle and you're doing things like, oh, this is a puzzle room, and so you get a quest, and your quest markers are like the puzzle parts of the quest, and they're like, oh, here's a mid boss, and you have like a combat quest, and it's like they use MMO quest design stuff to do legit actual Final Fantasy stuff. They don't do that the whole way through, but when they do it at the end of Realm Reborn, is kind of fantastic, and I loved it. And in part of it, you steal a Magitech armor, which is just icing on the cake. But it's been a while since we've talked about Final Fantasy because Eli is no longer on the podcast.
I thought it was a slow burn when I was playing .hack GU, and then I tried to play an actual MMO.
I'm not really a fan of the genre. The only other one I've gotten even remotely into is Wakfu, and that's a turn-based tactics MMO that I was already predisposed toward because I absolutely love the animated series. So, you know, I will show for that all the time. Everyone watch Wakfu on Netflix. It's great. Watch it subtitled if you can, but either way, it's good.
I can't remember if it was you that told me that Wakfu was surprisingly good for both an anime and an MMO.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been. There aren't enough people who know the greatness of that series. It's I mean, the MMO is fun, but man, that show just I absolutely, that's like, you know, it's very good. I love it a lot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's French, so I wouldn't expect much, but if you say so.
Yeah, no, it's legit like Avatar: The Last Airbender level of quality and sort of just general style. Like, it's, at least I'd put it up there with it. It's very good. But anyway, I got into 14, so that's consumed my life. And then I don't know, just kept doing stuff. I think that since we talked about Lunar, we bought a house, my partner and I, so that's cool.
Nice.
So yeah, we have a house now. I just finished a new episode of Games is Lit 101 last night, so that I can put that up. It's up for patrons now, and it'll be up in a couple days, so that's fun. Aside from that, you know, just playing games and stuff. I'm playing The House in Fata Morgana right now because a patron paid me to do a video about it. It's a visual novel that's hard to explain.
Yeah.
Like, you know how you could say, oh, Final Fantasy VII is about some people trying to, like, destroy a company that's ruining the world, and that does not even remotely say what Final Fantasy VII is actually about, but if you did say what it's about, then you'd get into, like, weird spoilery territory. It's kind of like that. Like, I could say that it's about you waking up in a mansion and having a maid there tell you stories of the tragic things that happened to people who lived there before, so you can try and find out which one is you, see if any of it jogs your memory. But that is not, like, it switches things on you so many times that is a very inaccurate explanation of what it actually is, just what it feels like it is when it starts. It's nice. It's very good. It's very sad and dark, and it'll be an interesting video, that's for sure. So that's fun.
Nice.
But yeah.
Also, you gave lip service to the fact, but since you've been on Lunar, you did start your Patreon. I remember that being an update after you recorded with us. I don't know if you started it or like harped on it more or something.
It must have been harping on it more because I had started it before then. But yeah, it certainly had its ups and downs. I've had situations where I'm in a position to make more videos and like really push for more support and stuff, and I've gotten it. And then other situations where I haven't been, and you know, it's been kind of fluctuating. But yeah, I am at this point working part-time and using Patreon for the rest of my contribution to the family income with my partner and I. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's something for sure. I'd like to do full-time at some point, but that's because, you know, my partner's job is like technically a government job. They work for the city. So you know, I could deal with the lack of like health insurance benefits and stuff that comes with doing YouTube full time because I can get them through their job. And, you know, but I'd have to actually make enough money to, you know, make that work with our finances purely from YouTube and Patreon first. And that's not quite where I am. So, you know,
go ahead and drop drop me the URL and I'll make sure that it's in the thingy, and I will.
Oh, sure.
We will do the thing that all millennial content creators do, where we only have one $5 bill and we pass it to every other person every other month.
Yes, exactly. Perfect.
But yeah, on that note, let's listen to, I don't know, some track from something Kiseki of some sort, and then we'll get into the meat of this episode. So yeah, the way we're going to do this today is we're just going to go down this relatively chronological list of the characters that join our party across these three games and talk about who would be in their polycule, because if this was a visual medium, we could draw out the like actual connections between everyone, but this is an audio podcast, so it doesn't actually work. So we're just going to pick a character, name all their boyfriends and girlfriends and shipmates, and make our way down the list. We are going down the list of just our party characters, but they don't have to be just party characters that are listed. So if we really think that Shara and what's her face, the receptionist, Aina, if we like they're obviously together, we can bring up Aina, but we're not going to say who Aina's thing is, because the only person we could do that for is Cassius, but his polycule would be just listing every named character in the game. So
everybody's just Cassius's ex. He's dated the continent.
It's true. Even in the fucking manga, the scene where somebody was like, "Oh, I mean, back when me and Cassius were hanging out together," and it's like, Jesus Christ, every fucking person on this continent knows Cassius.
I mean, if we're not talking NPCs, I would like to take just a second to throw out Niall and Dorothy, because I ship them very hard. So
obviously,
anyway.
we'll add them as honorable party members.
Cool.
And Gilbert, we'll add Gilbert in too.
Should be quick to cover him.
Yeah, I don't think he has anyone. Spoilers: Gilbert sucks. So yeah, we'll just start at the top. This is also a celebration of just. We've now spent some 90 plus hours with 16 of the coolest characters in JRPG history, and even if these people are celibate and we decide that they have no partners, we can just talk about how much we love them. But we'll start at the top with Estelle. So first things first, I know it's canon, but is Joshua actually in her polycule or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I figured that it was pretty real, but you never know. Oh, there, like in so many media, it's like, oh, Romeo and Juliet are in love, and you're like, no. Like the story is about that, but they don't actually like each other at all. But I agree. I think Estelle and Joshua, while being sort of brother and sister, are actually really in a relationship together.
Yeah.
Can I say something that bugs me that I just thought of?
What?
When people make up ship names for the canon couple, like
Estashua?
Yeah, why would people do that for canon couples? And I'm like, why? Do you need a shorthand to talk about that? What?
A plot?
I mean, now you're just reminding me of the shipping wars back when Avatar: The Last Airbender was coming out, and Katang versus Zutara.
Oh, God.
So yeah, they did that for that. The canon ship versus the other one.
So, besides Joshua, who else is in Estelle's relationship?
Chloe. I feel like that one's obvious. It's obvious to me, at least. Does no one else ship Estelle and Chloe? You're all very quiet.
I can see Estelle and Chloe. My internet in the living room sucks, and so I have a slight delay. But I can see Chloe.
I'm not sure.
Really?
I think there's a lot of people interested in Estelle, but it took us 3 games for her to figure out just the Joshua. So there's a lot of 404 errors going back.
That's very true.
That's fair. See, I'm just remember, like, I think the point where it really peaked for me was when was NFC, when Estelle and Joshua were staying at the school, and Chloe and Estelle were like staying in the same room and talking about Joshua. But I was like, nah, come on, like. I don't know. I felt something between those two then, and that only kind of continued as it went on.
Well, it's been a very long time since I've played first chapter. So.
Yeah, it took us a very long time to get through these games. But I think Estelle's polycule is hierarchical, and Joshua is her nesting partner, her anchor partner, and Chloe, they're really good friends that like sometimes make out sometimes. Like I think that's the level that she's on with Chloe. I don't think she has a windswept romance with Chloe.
I mean, I could see that too. I guess I was thinking like a relationship anarchist or something. I wasn't thinking about specifically what everyone is to each other. But yeah, I could see Estelle and Chloe being a bit more of a casual but nonetheless caring friends kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we know how Annalise feels about Estelle. I think we can all agree on that. But how does Estelle feel about Annalise?
404, file not found.
I can see it working, but having still not finished SC, I don't know. I can't say for sure.
It doesn't come back up, so you're not missing anything. But I think Estelle and Annalise trauma bonded, and it didn't work out.
Oh,
like after Estelle like worked through her shit with Joshua in the second chapter. So I think like they definitely hooked up and were girlfriends in La Local or whatever the fuck the place was. But I don't think that they still are in a relationship by the time we get to the end of the third game. That's my read on it.
If anything, the whole, Estelle being Naruto to Joshua's Sasuke thing kind of makes me feel like Estelle is the most likely character here to just straight be monogamous. And I'm not going to actually claim that for my own canon because that's no fun. But I could see the argument for it, considering just how much energy she puts into that. But frankly, she's also enough of an extroverted little hellion that I can't imagine. She's exactly the type of person who would thrive in a polyamorous situation. So
I think Estelle is most likely to be monogamous with what we've talked about in regards to Chloe and Annalise, but she is 100% hate fucking Josette every fucking chance that she gets.
I was going to say that's 100%. Yeah,
I was about to ask how Josette factors into all this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that it is definitely for Estelle is a hierarchical thing where she has a boyfriend, but she also has these other entanglements, and the one with Josette is very fierce and very much enemies to lovers, and there's millions of fanfics that include the line, "Do you really hate me that much?" And that's 100% the vibe there. But I can't think of anyone else that would fit in Estelle's polycule.
Kevin has hit on her, but my reaction to that is get a job, stay away from her.
I'm imagining now a situation where Estelle and Oliver hook up, and then she just like hates herself for it for the rest of her life. That wouldn't actually be real. It would never happen. But if it did, she'd be so mad at herself.
Yeah, which segues nicely into Joshua. I think every single person in the part, like Joshua is this party's Cassius. I think every single person would totally throw down for Joshua.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Chloe has literally confessed her love to Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, I think that happened in third chapter. Sorry.
That's fine. I would I've played Cold Steel 1 through 3. I have a lot of spoilers anyway. What's another little one for the pile? It's no worry.
It happens in a flashback to second chapter times, if I recall correctly.
Oh, fun.
So
yes, it's when they were at the school.
No, they were at a party.
She does.
Oh, right.
She does confess to either Estelle or Jill that she has the feelings, but she doesn't want to act on them in first chapter. So it's the minorest of spoilers that in an optional flashback scene, you can watch her actually tell Joshua. But yes,
I really like Joshua and Chloe. I like it.
Yeah, Joshua and Chloe, definitely. Joshua and Olivier. I think Joshua's feelings towards Olivier is kind of like now I can't remember the characters, but in Queer as Folk, I watched it like over a decade ago, so I don't remember specifics, but there's a relationship where they like hate the fact that they love each other so much, and it's not a hateful relationship between the two, but it's like, oh, if I were to introduce you as my boyfriend, I would have a lot of explaining to do, so this is just like we're just going with the flow and doing what we got to do, and that's the vibes I get with Joshua and Olivier's relationship.
I ship Olivier with one person, and that's all I will allow. And we'll get to that when we get to it.
Is it the canon one?
Absolutely.
Well, okay, you're right. We'll get to it, I guess. But
I do too, but I don't think we're talking about the same person.
We'll find out later.
Oh man,
yeah.
So
the tension.
I think Joshua likes Josette, but is just, it would be too complicated to do anything about that.
I feel Joshua and Josette are Estelle and Annalise, or I think when they were in there, they got themselves through a dark time, but it's like that chapter of their life is kind of over now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them continuing it going forward, much to Josette's chagrin. Josette definitely still pines after Joshua, but I don't think as a relationship it has anywhere left to go.
See, Joshua is an interesting one just because he's so like stoic that I'm looking at a lot of these characters and thinking, man, I don't know. Though I do think, I don't know if Joshua gives me bi vibes necessarily, but I think that if he were to experiment, he'd probably do it with Oliver.
Yeah.
At the very least. Yeah. I don't know if that would be an actual thing, but I could see him trying that.
I mean, it would, if he wanted to experiment, that would certainly be the quickest route.
The most readily available option, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Joshua strikes me as pretty straight, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to think, and I feel like with there's several other characters here in this cast that I think he would have great relationships with, but they would just be platonic. Like I think him and Agate definitely spar together every morning, but they take separate showers after.
Yeah, that's
so
I don't know. I could sort of see Joshua and Agate, but I don't think much. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, probably not.
So that brings us to...
Sorry, one question. One quick question while we're still on Joshua. Who does Joshua dress up like a girl like in the play with? Which of his partners?
Are you asking who's more of a lesbian, Chloe or Estelle? Is because it's Chloe.
Actually, that's
100% Chloe.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. I get if that's how we frame the question. Yes, it's definitely Chloe. I just remember that whole thing where both Chloe and Estelle were like, "Wow, he's really pretty. What's with that?"
Yeah. Yeah, I think Estelle and girl Joshua is, oh my god, senpai is so cute, and Chloe is, am I a lesbian? Because my boyfriend just turned into a girl, and this is doing things for me.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So that brings us next to Shara. We already mentioned Aina. Her and Aina, I think, are inseparable. They definitely are, especially after spoilers. The third is not a sequel as much as it is a series of flashbacks and one giant super dungeon. It's actually super cool. But in one of those flashbacks, you get to see how Shara and Aina meet, and yeah, they're girlfriends. It's very much the truth. But who else?
I mean, aren't Shara and Oliver canon?
There is a little hint at that at the end of third chapter, and I don't like it.
Sorry, have y'all played... Has anyone here played the Cold Steel games?
Matt has,
but he's not allowed to say anything about it because he just casually drops spoilers the entire first game.
I'm not gonna. I just want to make sure. I guess okay, so I won't say anything about about any of that. But yeah, I don't know. I got those vibes in the Sky games that was definitely a thing that was happening. At least,
yeah, I definitely
travel alone together often is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I was definitely going to bring up Olivier for Shara as a potential partner because they do spend a lot of time together. And I feel both of their vibes are just free love. And because they travel together, they are romantically entwined more than it being like everyone else so far that we've talked about, I feel goes out of their way to have a relationship with the other people, and I feel Olivier and Shara is we are good friends. We like having sex. We're going to have sex together, and the relationship part is friendship. The romantic part is purely just sex. That's the vibe I get from them.
That's fair. I can believe that. I absolutely believe Shara tops Olivier. That's just
100%.
That's just how that goes. I could believe that Oliver's a switch, but not with Shara.
But not with Shara.
But yeah. Also, it's funny to me that, you can tell which of the series we've played more of or whatever, because I'm calling him by his actual real name and you're calling him by his Sky name.
Yes.
I think Shara and Agate have hooked up.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Honestly, Shara comes across to me as so much older in the game than she actually is.
She is all of 23 years old in first and second chapter.
Exactly. It's weird. She honestly comes across to me as in her 30s or something, but
yeah, so
she's super not.
But anyone else for Shara?
Some part of me right now is thinking Zin, but I could not back that up. I have no idea why my brain is thinking it right now. I could not explain it. It's probably not real.
I think to skip ahead to Zen, my read on Zen is that he has I think Zen is Ace and his romantic partner, non-sexual partner is Kilika.
Okay, I could believe that.
I as much as I want to bone Zen, I don't think Zen has a sexual bone in his body.
I was going to say that Shara and Kilika have also probably hooked up.
Yeah, I can see that.
When Shara was in Zeiss for something.
Shara. Now that I'm thinking of more NPCs, my brain was just doing it. I think Shara and Karna, like 100%.
Are you just saying that because you like the idea of it?
Maybe, but I think there's canon backup for it. But yes, my two of my like top 5 hottest Trails in the Sky characters hooking up would kind of be awesome. But I think just knowing their vibes, both of them, I could see like every time they're on a mission together, I feel that they would hook up.
I feel like, I don't know if I'd get 100% behind this, but I feel like there is a functional headcanon where pretty much everyone who goes on a mission with Shara hooks up with her.
Yeah.
I get the impression that could be a thing, but oh gosh. No, yeah. I have another one. One. Shara and Mueller. Because they would absolutely get together and just complain about Oliver just constantly. Like, you know that Uncharted game where you play as 2 of the women from the previous games and half the time, not half the time, but now and again they'll just be like, man, you know that Nathan Drake guy? Yeah, what a douche. Like, it'd be like that.
Yep.
I could definitely see them having a thing and just being like, man, that fucking guy.
Oh, definitely. So yeah, Shara has the most so far, and also has the asterisk on. I think she's also had sex just casually with every member of this party. But Chloe,
yeah, so everyone, but I couldn't see her with like Estelle or Joshua as an example. No. But yeah, everyone is a general.
She was their teacher, so that's a little weird.
Yeah,
that's also true.
So, transitive property, Chloe starts with Estelle and Joshua in her polycule, but Jill 100% is her main girlfriend.
Yes,
they've been dating the longest. They are anchor partners. That's who she's a roommate with. That's who she would buy a house with, is Jill.
I love Jill. How do we? So this character appears in one of the flashbacks in 3rd chapter, but I believe you would know him from the Cold Steel games, but maybe not know how they met originally. But how do we feel about Chloe and Lecter?
Oh,
Lecter,
the student council president.
The student council president.
Oh gosh,
Lecter?
Okay.
Yeah, Genus Academy in 3rd chapter, the flashback.
Yeah, I think they definitely have at least dated if they're not still currently together. It definitely, if that flashback would have went on for like another semester, it was already fucking 3 semesters long. But if it would have gone on for another one,
was so long.
It would have gone on for another one.
Hard. I can't say anything. Okay,
no, I don't think you can.
Welcome to the hell that has been this past 2 seasons.
Just gonna like aside with Matt later on and be like,
yeah.
Oh,
solely on 3rd chapter, I see it. Also, Lecter and Jill.
Anyone else for Chloe besides Estelle, Joshua, Jill, and Lecter?
I could see if their paths cross at some point, Chloe and Annalise having a brief thing. I think that Annalise would probably be a little too exhausting for a long-term thing, but if their paths cross at some point, I could see that being a brief thing.
I was Annalise and Josette both. I feel get honorable mentions. If we're going to count Agatha and Karna for Shara, we can add Annalise and Josette for Chloe. So that brings us to Olivier Bernard, who is Olivier's only allowable partner.
Mueller.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
That is good.
That's the only one that I am comfortable with.
That's less funny, but
wait, the only one you're comfortable with?
That's the only one I will allow.
Because, man, if there is any character in this who is canonically not monogamous, it is Oliver.
Yes, but I don't want anyone else to get with him. I don't see anyone else where I'm like, yeah, Olivier,
okay, hear me out.
Fine.
What about, oh god, what's his name? The Phantom Thief?
Blue Blanc?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh god, Olivier and Blue Blanc.
Oh boy.
They have just like the weirdest hate relationship.
That'd be quite the crack ship. I'm here for it.
Oh god. Very minor third chapter spoilers. We know Celeste is got with Olivier.
Celeste.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, so then that brings us to Zen, which we already said is
Me.
Killica. All of us are pining after him, but he's definitely the himbo trope where he doesn't even realize that we're flirting with him. That's unfortunately where Zen lives.
He has gone on whole ass dates with people, which were some of the best dates of those individual lives. Him completely unknowing that it was a date.
Yes.
That sounds about right.
He took somebody to prom and he's like, yeah, they took me to this really nice party and there was music and it was great.
Yeah.
He strikes me as potentially like, I don't know if any of y'all have played Three Houses, but I'm forgetting his name. Raphael.
Yeah.
He's just so like supportive and wholesome and nice that pretty much anyone could go for him, but whether or not he'd figure it out is another question entirely.
He casually sweeps 3 people off their feet on his way to the store to get milk and doesn't even remember it by the time he's home.
Yeah. Love him so much. But we're still going to try really hard to hook him and Bernard up. Bernard deserves it. So next on our list is Agate Crossner.
Oh,
Erica.
Oh God, it's so true.
No, I'm joking. No, I'm not serious. No.
Erica is Tita's mom, by the way. Yeah.
Okay.
I think she shows up in Cold Steel. I think I've seen, or maybe
That'd
not.
be so mean to poor Tita, though.
But on one hand, yes. On the other hand, like, how awesome would it be to have Agate as a stepdad for Tita, and he'd be around all the time? So it would suck, but also would kind of not suck. But it definitely would be odd for Tita.
Yeah.
I think Agate has probably had relationships that measure in the days and hours with several of the people we've met or in our party. I'm not quite sure who, but it's been a lot of a like that flip moment, right? Where you're like, oh wow, you're really not an asshole. You're like you're just hurt and you're cute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's date. And then there's the flip off moment where he says something like, yeah, okay, no.
So I don't think this has any canonical backing it up, but I'm just looking at this list of characters and I'm picking up vibes. And I think that Agate and Julia totally would have a fantastic relationship, but I have no idea if there's anything that supports it in the text.
I don't know if they've ever talked to each other.
Yeah.
I think they just stood in a group of 16 people and said things to Kevin while standing near each other, because that's half the scenes in third chapter.
Yeah, I don't think the text backs me up on that, but I definitely 100% could see them in a relationship together. And we don't have to be based in reality. We're talking about a video game, so I'm gonna jot Julia down.
There's a cross game ship I was gonna throw out there because they would actually be perfect. And
go for it.
And I can't remember her name from Trails of Cold Steel. the samurai lady.
Do you mean Laura, or
hold on.
are you talking about main characters, or?
Yes, main characters.
Okay, I mean, probably. Or, well, no, I mean, it's just... Oh, no, it's the samurai. Reen is the samurai.
Not samurai lady. Big sword lady.
Okay, yeah, Laura.
Yeah. Like, by the time of Trails of Cold Steel 3.
I could see that, yeah. I mean, she's also with Reen, and you cannot convince me otherwise, but yes.
I mean, well, right, but, like, Reen's also Goku, so he's like, oh, you want to date him too? That's fine.
Oh, everyone is dating... Pretty much everyone's dating Reen, because everyone falls in love with Reen, because he's just a nice little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, anyone else with Agate? I feel much like Matt said, I think he has a lot of X's, but I don't think a lot of people put up with his shit. So I don't think...
That's the thing. I feel like a lot of the people, like if he's been with anyone, it's mostly going to be people that he's like worked with in the bracers or something long enough that they can see that he's actually not a total douche. And
who's the leader of the properly trained bracers? The non-party member bracer group. Kurt? Yeah, I could see... Yeah, I could see Kurt having a thing with Agate, but
I don't.
Not like a very strong one. The more I think about it,
I think like Agate's tough because I could literally see everybody from the party being interested in him. He like follows the like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast trope so well, like does it better than the original, where he's like, he is a massive asshole like 70% of the time, but that 30% is like, it hits it so hard, so high up every time, that all it would take for any of the members of the party was to see that from the right angle, and boom, they're in.
Definitely. And so
as much
and
of a
who
jerk
can
as
resist
he is,
red hair?
Well, right.
It's true. Surprisingly, in this party, like there's not a lot of red hair to go around. You have Agate, and then one of the characters whose name starts with R that joins us in the second game, or in the third game.
He's the entire redheaded population of the continent.
I mean, no, never mind. I was thinking of a character or a family of characters from Cold Steel, but, well, I guess this is the same continent, right? But whatever.
Country.
Sure, yeah.
Wait, are Arab, are they on the same continent?
Arabonia and Liberal?
Yes, all of this is on the Zemurian continent.
They're just like on the other side of Crossbell. So, well,
yeah.
Really just
I had the Valkyria Chronicles map in my head for a second. That's not right.
I need to play that. I own it on like 3 systems and I haven't played it.
The best scene in second chapter takes place on the border of Arabonia and Liberal, so
yeah.
So I think they're on the same continent.
I still have nightmare flashbacks of those tanks. They were so bad.
I added at the tail end of Agate various X's to summarize his relationship with everyone else. But then that brings us to Annalise. And if this was just a crushing chart, every single girl would be on Annalise's chart. Yeah. But I don't think she actually has.
I feel like
Annalise
is very unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Just kind of a disaster poly kind of.
Yeah. Because like so far, like transitive property, her poly starts with Estelle and Chloe, and neither of them, I think, are very serious as a relationship there. And trying to think of who would be her serious relationship. Not even even like thinking of her JRPG party, because she's part of Kurt's party. I don't think her and Karna. I don't think her and Kurt. I don't think her and the redheaded guy. The also appearing in this game.
Isn't there a joke in one of the flashbacks in the third where like people can't remember who he is?
I think so.
in the dragon flashback that we were all like, what the fuck is the point of this? I think that's in there.
Yeah, because that's the most character development that Grant gets, is in that one random ass, should be a side quest elevated to be a main-ish side quest for some fucking reason quest. But
I feel like Annalise would have the most success in a relationship by being with someone who is not also someone who like travels around, like isn't in the Bracers Guild or anything, someone that Annalise occasionally comes home to or something. I feel like that would probably be her best bet in an actual long-term stable situation, which means that, you know, if I'd played the games more recently, maybe I'd have a specific named NPC in mind or something, but I haven't, so I don't. I feel like that'd be your best bet at something that actually, you know, functions on a healthy long-term level.
See, I think that Annalise doesn't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but she does have a shrine to a celebrity vibe. Like, she is definitely like the main character in a modern young adult Netflix series who opens her thing and has some random, like, not BTS member, but like a fucking golfer type level person. Like, she's obsessed with some like C-list celebrity, and that's Annalise's style.
Annalise and Dorothy.
I could actually 100% see that in the same way that it's, but not in the text. But like, there's nothing to back it up in the text. But their vibes, 100%. I think Annalise and Dorothy fit very well together.
I actually could see that very much. That would be really cute.
Imagine that a cute little plushie was left on the side of a really fancy looking building, and just both of them going fucking nuts about how cute and cool everything would be. Like, they definitely bonded over like a sculpture of a panda in a park somewhere. That's 100%. That's canon now. They got to make a drama CD about how they met and fell in love.
Yeah, that literally went from hadn't even thought of that to I ship this really hard now. That's really cute, actually. I could see that. That also does remind me, as a brief aside on the subject of Dorothy, Neil, and Olivier, the three of them have absolutely hooked up together. I don't know if it became a regular thing at all, but it happened. I'm calling that.
So up next on our list is Julia, who I'm double checking.
Julia
her
is
age.
Married to her job.
It's very true. She is 27 at the start of first chapter, which is also conveniently when she meets Cassius. And I think this is the first Cassius. I don't think they're like a very strong relationship, but I definitely think they're like work husbands.
I think Cassius leaves people on red a lot.
Considering that's pretty much the plot of Trails in the Sky FC.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, I think Julia and Cassius have gotten drinks together after work, and it has gone pretty good, and then he hasn't mentioned it on Monday when they come back in for work. Yeah. Who else for Julia?
I don't know if this would actually work for the two characters, but I think it'd be kind of cute for her and Mueller to be a thing on account of both of them being, like officials who were tasked with protecting precocious
Yeah, I could see that.
children of heads of state.
Julia definitely got the better side of that.
I'm very disappointed because so far Julia's polycule has 2 dudes in it, and she's the most lesbian of the entire game. But I don't disagree.
I don't think she has time for.
That's fair.
Yeah. So here's what it is. I think she has she's had a fling with Cassius. Her and Mueller have had an on again, off again whenever he's in town sort of thing. But otherwise, she is too busy, and that's what makes her irresistible to the Julia Schwartz fan club. Is the same way that like K-pop stars aren't allowed to have public boyfriends or girlfriends because they have to be available for all of their fans to imagine that it could be them. And that's 100% Julia, except it's real for Julia, and she doesn't really have a boyfriend or girlfriend because she doesn't really have time to have a public boyfriend or girlfriend. But all of the girls in her fan club, which is canon, I don't know if you got to that part, but there literally is.
Wait, is it really? I love that for her.
Yeah, she has a fan club.
So that then brings us to Mueller, who definitely Olivier. They are 100%. Like, not even no doubt about it. Olivier and Mueller are definitely the manga trope of the straight man and the weirdo. Yep. They that's them straight up. Anyone else for Mueller?
I'm trying to decide if Mueller, beneath all of his frustration with Olivier, actually loves him, or if it's Olivier loving Mueller and Mueller hate fucking Olivier. I feel like either could work.
I actually kind of think it's the opposite. I think.
Oh, really?
I think Mueller is in a position of he really loves Olivier. He wants that relationship to hit a next step, but Olivier is Olivier, right? And Mueller knows that, so he's like, okay, this is good enough. I am content with where we are.
Yeah, so looking over the list already, transitive property, Julia and Shara were also both in Mueller's, but I think the more I sit on it, Mueller and Shara, I feel, have hooked up, but I don't think they're actually in each other's polycule. Just seeing it from Mueller's side, I don't see it being a very consistent thing. But they definitely have gotten drunk and talked about how much they hated Olivier and hooked up because of it.
I could flipping back on this side, I could definitely see him and Julia being that super awkward workplace romance that everybody knows it's going on, but they're trying to pretend it's not a thing for some reason.
Anyone else? I
was
feel
gonna say, they would basically be Mustang and Hawkeye from.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was envisioning.
Except, of course, they are working for literally opposing governments. So I think he's kind of got his hands full with Oliver.
Yeah,
I could see him just straight up not having to, he tries. He goes out to dinner, maybe hooks up with someone, and the moment he gets back to the hotel, lets Olivier out of his sight for a second.
He's like, you set what on fire? Who is coming to the house to talk to me about what you did? Oh, they're here already. Good.
Yeah, I feel like Olivier's definitely accidentally cock-blocked him multiple times. He's having a very nice dinner with someone, and then shit goes completely sideways, and he's like, oh, damn it, okay.
He just bursts in, Mueller, listen, I didn't do it, but there's gonna be a bracer coming.
Up next on our list is Josette, who transitive property. We already have Joshua, Estelle, and Chloe. Anyone else? I know she doesn't really interact with anyone else, but
I think Josette and Jill would concoct schemes together.
Oh, I could 100% see that. So Josette, in her cosplaying as Chloe vibes, goes into the school to do a thing. Jill finds her out and then helps her do the thing. Maybe not stealing whatever, but gets up to no good. I could see that. I could write that fan fiction.
The thing is, as we go through the list, they're going to become progressively faster because
we already talked about it.
Yeah.
Trying to think other like NPCs or anything. I could see. No, I couldn't. There would be a connection there, but I don't think it would go anywhere. Of in prison after the events of the first game, Josette and Richard would be able to interact, but I think
absolutely not.
Yeah, I think Richard is monogamous to the idea of Cassius in his head and canon in real life. That is all that Richard has time for. Yeah, so that brings us to Kevin, who has not appeared on anyone's list so far. There are two canon members that are both names start with R that we are not talking about today. But
I said earlier that Kevin's relationship with Estelle is get a job, stay away from her.
Yes.
Yeah, the thing is, I have played enough of SC to know who Kevin is. I've played enough of him to be suspicious as hell, and haven't played enough of it to know whether I should be suspicious as hell, so I can't really say. Oh, man. I don't know. For all I know, he could turn out to be an Erebonian agent who betrays them and kills Tita or something. I know that doesn't happen, but like...
Yeah, that's...
The last part of it, at least. I don't know. I don't know him well enough. I couldn't say.
I think Kevin should strongly consider, as with most people, some professional help before considering a relationship of any kind.
Including his two canon ones from the third game. I think those he should set aside, get some help, and then maybe start something up there.
Now that I think about it, isn't he like a priest when you first meet him, or at least dressed up as one?
Yes, he is a priest.
I could absolutely... Well, I'm thinking of a Cold Steel character here, but I could absolutely see him with, like, women who were planted in the church from one of the, like, 30 secret societies that exist in this universe. I don't know.
Yeah, pulling...
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll put a pin in that and see what you think after.
Oh boy, okay.
Oh boy.
I think Matt knows what I'm actually referencing here, and then Sam is just like, "Oh, well, there will be more stuff to reference."
Yeah,
so
I don't know how I somehow got the whole picture, but both of you are right.
Yeah. But see, Kevin is hard because he gets.
Yeah, he is. Sorry, I could
because Kevin, the second chapter character, has a lot of relationships, but Kevin, the third chapter character, we know doesn't care about any of these people, and only truly when he realizes the real JRPG party was the friends he made along the way at the end of the third would any of these things actually happen. So I think, at least not counting the things that we learn in the third, I think Kevin is our first celibate on the list. I think he has no one currently to be currently celibate as of the middle of second chapter. I think is accurate for Kevin. So that gets us through all of the party members. which now brings us to our 3 honorable mentions. We already said that we wouldn't talk about Cassius's honorable mentions because it's every character over the age of 25 that we've met in this game has had something with Cassius. But that does bring us...
like Cassius has just for all of them, love them and leave them. I feel like that's his style.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he ever like even got to the mental space where he was like consciously deciding to leave. It's just like, there's a dragon over there. All right, I'm on my way. And then before he knows it, it's been 6 months. He's like, oh man, I never called them back, huh?
I could, in that framework, sort of see him as like vaguely like aromantic, in a way that he's like interested in people, he's with them, but ultimately his job just drags him everywhere, and he doesn't really have all that much of an inclination to maintain a connection over a long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if we're going to name specific names, him and Sid definitely currently have a workplace romance.
Yeah.
It's the only person I could see it being, and it's only because his job makes him interact with Sid a lot, so he keeps coming back and can't just go Sid for forever. Whereas any of the bracers, he's just, oh, sorry, they need me back at Army.
Mm-hmm.
But I totally forgot about Sid, so yeah, sure, that works.
Yeah, so then honorable mention number 1 is Niall, who obviously him and Dorothy are soulmates.
So I think Niall is the very monogamous partner in that relationship, who is just the at-home anchor. It's like, Dorothy, I am too tired. Do whatever you need to, man.
I could see that. So I definitely still hold my headcanon that the two of them and Olivier did it at least once.
Olivier is the reason he's tired.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I was trying to think of like his relationship with his boss, but no, I don't think there's anything there. And yeah, I think he really just is monogamous with Dorothy. But
it occurs to me too, Niall is such a journalist that I could also see him basically like refusing to be romantically or sexually involved with any of the major party members or anything because they are involved in stories he's covering.
Yeah.
Whereas I could also see a situation where Dorothy just like met someone important at a bar, hooked up with them, found out a bunch of secrets, and then just casually drops them on Niall sometimes.
Yeah.
Why did you wait so long to tell me? Get dressed. We have to go now.
I think Niall is monogamous with Dorothy. I do not think Dorothy is monogamous with Niall. Right. I think Dorothy on the listed characters, definitely Annalise. Definitely.
Is there a big age difference there? I don't remember how old Dorothy is.
I know that Dorothy, it was like fresh out of college when she met Niall in that flashback, so it's probably fine.
They're 2 years apart.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, yeah, that's
fine.
Wow, she's way closer to everyone then. Okay, yeah, that's doable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Niall is the anime equivalent of why you shouldn't smoke.
I was about to say, Niall doesn't have a lot of people because smoking's a deal breaker for a lot of people.
It really is. And especially in the list of the characters that we interact with. I don't think another one of these people smokes, like not even casually. Like I think Shara will like hookah every now and then. Like her and her friends will go to a hookah bar to get drunk and do hookah, but I don't think any of them like just casually smoke cigarettes the way that Niall
which
does.
of these characters smoke weed?
Yeah. Like,
oh man,
Olivier is like snorting fermented moon rock. Like,
Olivier is all
just
kinds
out of
shit.
a dragon skull.
Yep. I'd say I don't know. I could see Zin is just so chill in general. I could see him smoking weed now and again, but
I feel like Zen tried weed, but it didn't like have much of an effect on him. And
yeah, that's fair.
he was like, I don't see the point.
Honestly, I could see if it was for a job necessary to maintain a cover, I could see Joshua absolutely smoking as a, like, yeah, that's fine. That's a thing I'm willing to do.
I think that Joshua would smoke weed and would 100% use his Black Fang crazy powers to like siphon off that side of his brain so that it would not affect his ability to do anything else.
Yeah, he wouldn't take any like he would strictly do depressants, not like
oh yeah.
Because otherwise he would just like snap and go on a Fallout-esque stim rage.
Campanella blazes it.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Oh god. But
and some of the other members of Ouroboros would hate him already in general. I would very much hate him for that.
And he insists on calling it reefer.
Now I'm just imagining him trying to convince I don't even know if this character's in Sky necessarily. What was her name? There's another Ouroboros agent, Lady in Armor. I forget her name, but anyway, there could be fun dynamics there. But yeah, he absolutely does.
I feel like Weissman does cocaine, but also thinks that Campanella doing weed is immoral because it's illegal.
Yes.
Actually, he's that picture of 70s TV at the end where they're literally doing bumps of cocaine just on screen. Like casual, not even trying to hide anything, trying to hide it from anybody. And he will say, "Man, that weed'll kill you," while taking a bump.
Yes.
I'm now imagining Campanella trying to convince McBurn to light up a blunt for him. I don't know if McBurn shows up in these, but
I don't know.
That would be. I feel like that would be fun.
McBurn sure sounds like the name of a character who would smoke weed.
Oh yeah.
Frankly, it's a dumb name, but it is the name of a character in Cold Steel.
So all this
I could see Estelle trying literally everything or anything at least once.
Probably.
And
just
not liking any of it.
Oh no, definitely not.
No, she hates it every single time.
Yeah. So the last honorable mention is Gilbert, our favorite. I don't know if you got to the part in second chapter where it's revealed that he's joined Ouroboros, but he's just as the running joke throughout these next two games, Sam, is that his mini boss fight in first chapter is the last leveling up that he does, and he will talk a big mess and you'll get in a fight with him and you'll take him out in one hit because he's still level 30 something, and it's fantastic.
Oh, no.
And they go so hard on a running joke of him being a completely useless idiot, and it's great.
Yeah. So who's he fucking?
Here's where I reveal that I actually have a soft spot for Gilbert. Like, he's a bad guy and he sucks, but he's trying his best. So, like, I like to imagine that he has a long-suffering partner back at home, or partners, and he just comes back every time. He's like, I don't get it. And, like, that's where he's getting his confidence to come back and try again, even though he hasn't leveled up in 2 games. They provide the emotional support, they put him back together, and they send him back out into the world.
Yeah. Is that person Campanella?
Oh gosh.
Yes.
Yes. Probably.
It's probably like his hirelings. He's in reality he's probably one of those people who like pays people to be his friend because he doesn't know how to make real friends.
Mm-hmm. But that's all of the list of at least travels around with the party characters that I could think of. Any other honorable mentions before we wrap up?
I think this is a topic.
We didn't talk about Sieg.
Sieg absolutely has a bird friend, and they love each other very much.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They're good birds.
Whatever breed of bird Sieg is, they mate for life.
That's very true. But yeah, I think that's everyone.
Yeah, I can't think of any more. My brain is moving straight on to trying to ship Class 7 with each other, so...
I'm in the place where, like, once the crossovering starts happening, like, who from which game would be...
Oh, gosh. Oh, no.
And, yeah, I'm down the rabbit hole, folks.
Awesome. But so in lieu of a memorable moments section to wrap it up, because this will be, besides our quiz game episodes, I do believe this will be our last time talking with these characters as party members and not just NPCs. So who's your favorite party member? Let's start with Bernard. Who's your favorite one so far?
Man, it's probably Estelle. She's just so great. She's the main character for a reason.
Yeah. I think I vote to do the IMDb has banned Citizen Kane from being voted the number one in the IMDb top 100 because it won every year for 20 years. So I think we can't pick Estelle.
Oh man,
who's your favorite party member?
Oh man,
I don't think that Joshua gets the same aside. I don't think he gets the same rules. He's awesome, but I don't think he's as much of a shoo-in as Estelle is.
Let's also note that since we're not talking about shipping anymore, Tita's back on the table.
I love Tita.
Tita is fantastic.
Also, after playing Guy the Third, I do like Kevin a lot.
Yeah, Kevin is a very interesting choice for the protagonist of Game 3, and that makes Game 3 one of the best games because of it. Because he is basically as opposite as you can get from Estelle in the plucky protagonist category, but on par with the I have things to say about everything that's happening category that she does.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin is great. Mine to help people out. Mine is Chloe. I love her, and it's not just because she's hot, but because I really love the trope of the I am hopelessly in love with this person, and I understand that that's in the way, so I'm not going to really ever do anything about it, and I'm going to do other things. And I love that aspect where she sees Estelle and Joshua and she's like, oh, I'm the other woman, and I'm gonna go be a princess and do all the things that I need to, and not let the fact that we're canonically not polyamorous, so I can't have Joshua. I'm not going to let that slow me down ever at all. And I like her a whole lot, especially the scene in second chapter that I don't think Sam has gotten to that happens at the Erebonian border. She's just
that scene's so
fantastic.
Good.
Yeah.
Olivier's also really good in that scene.
Olivier, the traveling bard, is great. He's not as good as Jansen of that trope of character, but he's still pretty great. But Olivert, the crown prince of Erebonia, is fantastic, and I'm so excited that we're going to Olivert's house very soon in 2 games, and we get to we get to see more of that side of him because he's great. but I don't think right now he gets to be a favorite character. He gets to be a good character, but not favorite.
Honestly, it was so fun playing. Normally I don't like jumping into the middle of things, but I didn't know about Trails in the Sky before I played Cold Steel, so it happened. But honestly, I really liked that experience in a lot of ways, because until 3, Cold Steel doesn't spoil a lot about Sky. So, it works pretty fine on its own. And then when I played Sky and then Olivier showed up, I was like, is that who I think it is? And it was it was a really fun moment, because, I knew him from that, and having him show up unexpectedly in Sky was like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah. What about you, Matt? Who wins your heart of these 16 characters?
15, because you took Estelle off the table.
True. And we're not talking about two others, because them joining the party is a delicious surprise and thing. So roughly 16 minus a couple characters.
I've had time to think about this, and I'm still. I think I'm gonna go with Agate, because sticking with the tropes we like, I am always a fan of the Samwise trope.
Mm-hmm.
Who's here not because they have stakes, but because it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Agate fills that role really well. And on top of it, he is flawed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, all the protagonists are flawed. All the main characters
Except
are flawed, except for Estelle. And even she, you could like, oh, she's gullible. Okay,
Yeah.
but like, Agate's flaws are real flaws, if that makes sense. Like, Joshua was mind broken by like chemical and indoctrinating magic nonsense, whatever. That's a flaw, but that's like a big story flaw. Right? Agate's just a jerk.
He's just a jerk who couldn't save someone important to him, and that's broken him in a way that could break me. I couldn't be broken by being brainwashed into being the Black Fang. I could be broken by feeling like a failure.
Yeah, he's the most, and it does help that like through both the first and the second games, Agate was my real protagonist. Like, I don't know what crazy combination of stuff went into that, but he was always my heaviest hitter.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he is a very real, relatable character, and sometimes that made me feel uncomfortable, because I'm like, oh, yeah, that's how I would have reacted in this situation. Am I an asshole? Probably, but not to the same extent, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, Agate definitely grew on me, because at the end of first chapter, it definitely is the party member also appearing in this game. But second chapter just goes hard on making Agate the best ever. Assuming you take him at the beginning of the game, because the first half of the game is different, and as much as I love Shara, she didn't deserve to be able to be the focus for half of the second game. Agate's story is way better than Shara's. Should have just been the canon one.
Assuming you aren't playing a podcast, and almost everybody took Agate because they thought everybody else was going to take Shara.
Yes. But yeah. What about you, Sam? Who's your favorite?
I mean, if not for the rule, I know it's the basic answer, but I would have to say Estelle. I love her a lot, but without that as an option, it's either Chloe or Olivier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly not sure which. And in all fairness, I've got, having played Cold Steel, it feels almost unfair. Yeah, like, it feels almost unfair because I have a lot of extra experience with Olivier. But I really, really like them both, and I'm not sure which my favorite would be. I would say I guess it would probably be that if we're talking just like which character do I enjoy the most, probably Olivier, but which one is actually like my favorite that I think is the coolest and most like interesting, I guess probably Chloe. I like them all, though. These games have a tendency to do that. You just, they endear you so much to all of the main characters and most of the side characters and a few random ass people who have fully formed arcs. If you choose to talk to random NPCs for some reason. So, like...
Yeah, I think what's phenomenal about this game that has a party of 16 fucking characters, which is gigantic, is none of them are my least favorite.
Yeah.
I could not pick between all of them who's my least favorite. They all have a time to shine. That when it is their time to shine, they're all awesome. And I don't think I dislike any of them. I think on any random day I could squint and pick one of them to be my current favorite, but that's just fantastic, and I hope that keeps up, because it would be great if we get to the end of the Cold Steel arc and we look back on our 50 plus party members probably at that point, and they still all own. That would be fantastic. But yeah, so I think that'll do it. Like I said, next week we're going to do a stupid little mini game episode, and yeah, we're trying to find a guest host for that one to be the one who reads the questions so that I can play. But we'll see. And because we skipped over 2 episodes ago when we were going through all the doors, we were like, Campanella's quiz game, that's stupid, we don't want to do that. But now we're like, well, what if we actually did Campanella's quiz game from the 3rd game?
What if it wasn't
as
stupid?
a game show episode? I still think it's stupid that they waste all of the time and effort programming that garbage, but the question list is online, so we're going to play it instead. And yeah, we'll do that next week, and then we're like out of time, and it'll be time for the new game, old game, and be moving on to a new set of party members, which is sad but exciting at the same time. But anything else anyone wants to say before I read the outro?
These games are good. That's my hot take. That these games are super good.
That is
play them.
That does remind me, in the Discord, you said you had a super spicy hot take that you were going to bring up tonight.
Oh gosh, not that I was going to bring up, just that I thought I'd have to bring up. But now you're okay. Mostly just that Estelle and Joshua doesn't bother me. I assumed that someone was going to take issue with it, and I'd have to explain why it's not that big a deal to me. But that didn't happen, and now here I am just saying it. So,
yeah, it had the opportunity to bother me a lot, but it bothers me less than Iris and Wally from The Flash. Iris and Wally is weird. Wally, Barry. Sorry, Wally is her actual brother. But Barry, her not brother, but Barry was like 6 and they were raised in the same house that whole time. That one bothers me a whole lot. This one was 5 years ago. Her dad brought this boy home, and it's only been 5 years, and they were already like, she was already like 10 or 11. So it's less of a being raised together thing.
Yeah, they're not blood related, and there is no power imbalance. So like that kind of takes all of the actual like ethical objections to the situation completely out of it. So, I
think it would also be weirder if it was a more traditional, stylized, like found family situation.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Cassius is barely ever home because he's out literally putting the world on his back, right? And Estelle knows that.
Yeah, and And I get the feeling that Joshua calls Cassius dad in the way that like I would call my partner's dad, and not like, I don't think it actually was you are a father figure, but just you are a father figure, as in you're the only grown-up male who hasn't tried to brainwash me that I've ever met type father figure.
Like, honestly, it bothers me less than the not blood-related siblings situation in Cold Steel, and that one never even, like, goes anywhere as far as I know. So, you know, like...
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. People get squicked out about it, and that's perfectly fine. I get it, but I just don't find it actually objectionable in any, like, significant, realistic way. So, you know... But again, that was a conversation that I just kind of thought would end up needing to happen, but instead y'all were all like, yeah, they're together, whatever. So
yeah, I think, especially now, 3 games in, it's less of a thing, but it's kind of a pill you have to swallow in the first game. But I don't feel like the game ever is like, oh yeah, stepbrother senpai, just got to deal with it type thing. I think it tries to earn it the whole time, which is...
Yeah, it doesn't even, like, so often when stuff like this happens, it feels sort of fetishistic. Like, you know, we're doing this because that way you can get off on the incest without actually having incest. And this just never feels like that to me. You know, it never feels like it's trying to be weird about it. It just, you know, does its stuff. The two characters work, and that's, you know...
Yeah, there are instances that come up that point out briefly how weird it is, or like its relative amount of weirdness, but like that, I think that even makes it work more.
Yeah.
Because like relationships are messy and gross sometimes. Like, and this one, frankly, a lot healthier than not living in the same house relationships you see on TV. So
yeah. But that'll do it for the week. This series is a timed exclusive for our Ko-Fi supporters. So if you're hearing this in the podcast feed, come on over to www.rpgbook.club, and there will be a few extra episodes waiting on you when you donate. And we're actually doing really good at keeping that promise right now. We haven't been doing very well, but right now we have like 3 episodes in the tank. So hopefully we are keeping that up. And by the time that you hear this in the podcast feed, there will still be 3 to 4 episodes in the tank. On the Ko-Fi, we now have membership tiers. So if you get all of the stuff that we had before we had membership tiers, so you can vote on our polls for the main game. If you are already a member right now, you can go and vote on our next game. But if you're hearing this in podcast feed, that vote's already over. But you can vote on the next game that we do. You get a green name in the Discord, and you get access to these episodes early. That's the big one, and I couldn't even think about it. But then we also have 2 new tiers. We have a $5 tier where we will shout out your name every episode, just like this. Shout outs to Aaron524, Cerebral Win, Anthony Lerma, Vimk, Jfro Prime, Eli Bergmoss, Doho, and Tuxedo Ken. And then we also have the $20 a month tier, where we will not only read your name, but read a 1-sentence plug of your choosing. Ordinarily, the idea is that this would be your Twitch stream, your YouTube channel, whatever. But our current and only luminary is our friend Carr, who is not a Twitch streamer. He's a dentist, so his plug is not for a URL, but for your own mouth. And he says to brush your teeth twice a day, especially the time right before you go to bed. Honorary shout outs to our good friend Sam G for coming and hanging out with us tonight. And where can they find you on the web, Sam?
Well, the main place would be youtube.com/games as literature. But of course, if you just go on YouTube and search Games as Lit 101, you'll find me. I mostly specialize in long form. Well, long form can mean real long now. Like, 40 to an hour and a half, 40 minute to an hour and a half long analyses of video game stories. And then occasionally I'll do shorter ones about specific topics, like why the Hildebrand quests in Final Fantasy XIV are brilliant, or just other various random specific shorter things. So I'd say just go to YouTube, look up Games as Lit 101, find an analysis of a game you like, and start there. And then I'm on Twitter @GamesAsLit, and Patreon, patreon.com/GamesAsLit, I think should do it. Oh gosh, let me look and see if it's Games as Lit or Games as Literature now. Okay, yeah. Oh, it's patreon.com/GamesAsLit101. So yeah, just and any of that stuff. Watch my videos. I think they're all right.
I do too. Sam was one of my man, it would be so cool if we got this person on the podcast, and now you've been on here twice. So thank you for coming and hanging out with us.
I am happy to help. And when you get around to Trails of Cold Steel, it should be 3 times, for the record. I'm just letting that desire be known. I love that game.
For sure. Maybe talking about all these characters will put a fire under your ass, and you'll beat Crossbell by the time that we do, and it'll be 4 times.
That would be fun, yes.
Yeah. But
that way we can have a conversation about man, it was really hard not to talk about X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, for sure.
But for Book Club no Kiseki, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
I'm Matt Jorgensen.
Am I supposed to this time?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm Sam, the game professor.
Adios, amigos.